Good morning, second period class. I'm going to go over with you your new project, and this is going to piggyback off of what we did last week in Photoshop. So we're continuing our our to increase our skill using Photoshop. So sorry, that's my child that you hear. Okay, so when you open up Photoshop, the size of the document that you're going to want to get is going to be either anything between a 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7. So for purposes of what you're going to see, I'm going to do a 5 by 5. Remember, this should say inches, and remember, there should be no check marks in artboards. Okay, we're going to hit create. And I've given you how many pictures? There are 4 pictures to choose from that we're going to work with. I'm going to choose the house first. Remember, all you're going to do is just drop it into the blank document. Remember your check mark. Okay, so what you're going to do with this lesson is you're going to recolor the pictures. Okay, so how do you do that inside of Photoshop? There are several different ways we can do it, but what we're going to do is, since we're just beginners in Photoshop, we're going to utilize layers. Okay, because it's real important to understand layers. Now, the way that this picture is now, if you were to turn on your brush and paint over it, it wouldn't look so good because you just have one layer. But what we're going to do is we're going to add layers. So right here, we're going to add layer 1, right? And mind you, depending on how many layers that you add, that's how many layers you're going to end up with over here, okay? And I will lay out for you the minimum amount of layers that you're supposed to use. All right. So this little guy right here that looks like a lasso tool is what we're going to use. It's called the lasso, like as in a rope, okay? So lasso tool, and the shortcut is the letter L as in Lima. All right, so what we're going to do, and what the lasso tool does, is the lasso tool actually lays out for you an area that you want to work with. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say that your lines may not be straight and your lines may be a little crooked because you are working with a mouse. And I understand that the mouse is sometimes can stick to the table, and that's fine. But we're going to do the best as we can with it. Okay, so whatever area you outline, it looks like it leaves some running ants in it, right? What that is, that's the area that you've highlighted with your lasso tool, or the area that you've outlined. Your next step is to grab the brush. Now, if you don't see the brush anywhere here, what you can do is you can hit or select the letter B as in boy, okay? And what that does is that brings up the brush tool. And the brush tool should be right underneath where the Band-Aid is, okay? And this is the brush tool. Now, if you remember, I don't know, I take that back, I may have not shown you how to increase and decrease the size of a brush. If you look down on your keyboard and you see the 2 brackets that are off to the right of the keyboard, those increase and they decrease the size of a brush. If you can't locate those, you can go up here and you could increase or decrease the size of a brush. Remember, increasing or decreasing the size of a brush increases the surface area of which you can cover. Okay? Now, we are going to change the colors. What color do we want to paint our home? Well, I'm going to leave these colors entirely up to you. Okay? The good thing about coloring with a brush after you used the lasso tool is you can't go outside of the lines. How cool is that, right? Now, that looks pretty weird Okay, that just there by itself. But remember, last week I showed you how to use layer effects. All right, and that is how you recolor a picture inside of Photoshop using the lasso tool and using the brush to change the color. All right. I'm going to go over with you in class how many layers I actually want you to use. So there should be a minimum amount of layers for each picture. Again, that's the minimum amount. You can always go above and beyond that to make your picture look exactly the way you want it. Thanks for watching.